Hi, this is Contixo Repair, and today we're going to be replacing the motor on the F10 drone. And all you're going to need is a screwdriver. This is the motor that is worn out, and the first thing we're going to do is take the propeller off. Place these screws over to the side. And now we're gonna flip our drone over after we take the propeller out. And we're gonna remove the propeller guard. Place that over there. Next, we're gonna remove the landing gear. And the other landing gear. I'm gonna place that to the side. Next, we're gonna do the camera. Now we're gonna unplug the camera. And now we're going to open up the battery cover. Get access to the battery and unplug it. And place it outside the drone. And for that first part, we were using the included screwdriver. And now to remove the shell, you're going to want to grab a smaller screwdriver, about a number 0 Phillips, and you're going to start by removing all the screws, holding the bottom shell to the top shell. You're gonna flip the F10 over and pry the shell from the bottom shell. And you're gonna notice that there is a wire connected, and all you want to do is unplug that and put the shell to the side. And then you have these wires here. You're going to want to unplug the wires for the motors. Sometimes there's a bit of adhesive on them, and you're just going to want to knock that off. You're going to want to remember which motor wires go where. So an easy way to remember is the propellers that have A labeled on them will have the red and blue wires diagonal to them. And then the props with B on them will have the red and black wires diagonal to them. this connector right here. This goes to the altitude sensor, and you're just going to want to break the glue off. Just be careful taking it out with the connector in the front. This connector right here goes to your on and off switch, and you're going to want to take that out also. And the video wire leads, you're going to want to also take those out. And now, before we pull this whole arm off, we're going to want to also take the flight control out. As it will make taking these leads out from the broken motor a lot easier. And there's 4 screws holding the flight controller on to the frame. And you're going to want to lift your flight controller up and just bend it backwards, and then flip the drone over, and you'll notice there is 1 screw holding each arm on, and you're going to want to unscrew the screw that holds the arm with the broken motor. You should be able to identify which LED wire goes to that arm, and you just want to unplug it. And now all you have to do is pull the arm away from the main frame of the drone, and now we have your arm with the broken motor in it. So we can move this stuff out of the way for right now. Just take out all the screws holding the motor case to the arm. Now that all the screws are out, you're going to want to simply pull on the shell, and it should come out nicely. And then also pull the aluminum arm from the motor mount. And you can just wiggle it free. And there you go. And now you're going to want to pull the motor leads, and now you're going to want to unscrew the motor. And it should come out nice and easy, and then carefully pull the motor leads through the motor mount. Now you're going to want to grab your new motor and insert it into the motor mount. And you should just screw it in. Make sure it's nice and tight. Next, we're going to grab our motor leads and push them through the motor mount to where the arm will go. Carefully push and pull them through. And when we reinstall the arm, you're going to want to make sure that the side with two holes about 1/4 of an inch from the end of the arm goes to the motor, and the one with about an inch length for the holes goes into the quadcopter frame, like so. So you want to grab the side with the holes closer to the edge and push your leads through. Make sure the holes line up with the screw holes on the motor mount. Make sure your motor is screwed in tightly. And now we're going to grab the motor mount shell and place the more flat side on the bottom near the gearbox. That goes on the bottom. There's a little hole for the LED to go through. And then we're going to grab the top of the shell and put it on the top of the motor mount. Make sure your leads do not get into the way of the motor. And you're going to want to snap the shell together, like so, and grab your pointy screws with the very small head. And screw them in to the motor mount shell. Make sure all 5 screws are inserted. And now we are going to put the arm back onto the main frame. And we're going to start by twisting the wire around the motor wire to make it easier to feed through. And you can use your screwdriver to lift the connector up. And just pull the 2 leads through, and then start pushing the arm into the frame. Next, you're going to want to flip it over and grab one of your screws with the washer head and screw the arm into the main frame. Make sure it's about hand tight, and flip your frame over again. And you're going to want to angle your motor wire leads and LED leads to the side. And then the orientation of your flight control board is the battery connector is the back, and the receiver wire is in the front. And you're going to want to press that in. The A propellers are going to have the blue wire leads parallel. You're going to insert that one there. And then for the B propellers, they will have the red wire leads diagonal and parallel to them. And we're going to reinsert our LED leads into these smaller slots. And these can go into any slot for the smaller ones. To install the plastic isolation plate underneath the flight controller, I'm going to grab my smaller screwdriver for these screws. Now you're going to want to tuck your wires in. Try to press them down as best you can. And you're going to grab your top frame and then plug the LEDs into any available mini connector port, and then you're going to put your top frame on top of the bottom one, line it up as best you can, and it should start snapping together. Now you're going to grab your remaining pointy screws, screwing together the top and bottom frame. And after installing all your screws, and now that we flipped the drone over, we're going to grab our propeller. Line up the holes on the motor shaft and the propeller shaft and press it straight in. And then you're going to grab your short pointy screws. Make sure the propeller's in good. And then flip the frame back over again. And we're going to install the propeller guards. And these are the long, skinny washer head screws. I'm going to press that in a little bit. Next, we're going to install our camera again, and we're just going to press that on to the 4 holes there, and grab our larger horse thread screws. And last, we're going to reinstall the landing gear legs. Make sure they're facing outwards, and you're now done. And that is how you replace a motor on the F10 drone.